Every morning deserves a proper start. Don't come at me with that spot of tea nonsense. It's coffee. That's how red-blooded Americans start their mornings off all across the country, with coffee. Don't settle for gas station burnt up, haven't changed the filter for a month, low-grade coffee swill. Get yourself some delicious tasting coffee. Roast to your cup in as little as 4 days. Try the Mercenary Blend. It's my personal favorite. Seabag Locker Coffee is changing the coffee game. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just delicious coffee. Fresh coffee, American coffee. Use promo code AAR. Get 10% off your purchase. Never hate your coffee again and get off that Starbucks sugarcino crap. Seabaglockercoffee.com. A Green Beret was looking over an Afghan valley from atop a peak they'd spent the day climbing. For a moment, the beauty of the landscape muted the violence below. The Taliban trying their hardest to kill another American? Nah, it was just him and his team sharing a cup of hot coffee. That Green Beret decided he wanted everyone to be able to share a cup of coffee with the people that matter to them the most, anywhere their adventure might take them. That's why he developed the Java Can, an all-in-one coffee brewing system in a 50-cal can that you can take wherever you go. Brew a fresh cup of coffee no matter where you might find yourself, from a mountaintop in Afghanistan to a beach in Maui. The Java Can will help you share a cup of coffee and a peaceful moment with the people that matter to you. Go to thejavacan.com and enter promo code AAR. Get 10% off your purchase. And for a limited time, if you tag the AAR podcast in a pic with you and your Java Can, I'm going to send you a free bag of Seabag Locker Coffee. So get your Java Can today. Live life charged. www.thejavacan.com.
And now, the After Action Review with Rod Rodriguez.
And welcome to the After Action Review podcast. I'm your host, Rod Rodriguez. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you were hungry? I mean really hungry. Not that kind of fake hungry that comes when you have the munchies for something you haven't had in a while or you haven't had lunch yet. I'm talking about that real hungry. That's more like you haven't eaten in a day or two. If you've ever experienced real hunger, you know how powerless and defeating that feeling can be. Hunger is something we don't often consider as Americans. That's a third world country problem. Flies on a baby's face in a mud hut kind of problem. Something we do not see here. But the truth is hunger, real hunger, is a reality for millions of Americans. This week, the After Action Review podcast is putting a spotlight on two veterans who are tackling this problem in unique ways. First up is Tim White of Stafford Food Security, who is bringing that leatherneck resolve to the problem of child hunger. Oh yeah, child hunger. That's real here in the U.S. 1 in 6 children don't know where their next meal is coming from. Take a minute and think about what I just said. 1 in 6 children don't know where their next meal is coming from. So what do you do against a problem like that? What do you do against a problem where 1 in 6 children in the United States go hungry? Well, Tim might tell you what you do is you call a Marine. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim White.
So my name is Tim White. I'm a United States Marine. I served 10 years in active duty and reserves, got out in 2013, and now I'm the executive director for Stafford Food Security, Inc. Stafford Food Security is a 501c3 nonprofit. We started about a year ago, and what we wanted to do was figure out how to feed hungry kids. So we surveyed our area. We looked at all the resources that were available, and we identified that there were food banks and food pantries. So for those of you that don't know the difference, a food bank is a nationally organized thing, and they distribute food down to the food pantries, and then people can come into a food pantry and get food, get some help. Wonderful program. We love what they're doing, and we support them. We partner with them regularly. But the problem is it's a passive distribution system, meaning somebody has to come in and get that help. So if a parent or an adult is too drunk, too stoned, too proud to go in and get that help, the kid goes hungry, the kid goes without. So what we want to do is find innovative ways to strategically target kids and get food to them. I mean, we run this like a military campaign. I'm an intel analyst and I was a grunt before that. So everything we do is based on a military con ops type strategy. So our target population, our enemy is hunger. We hate hunger. We just want to eliminate it every chance we get. And so we go out and we find ways to get food to kids. The way we started doing that was I went in and met a friend of mine who's an elementary school principal. Said, hey, if I can get the food together, will you distribute it to the kids? And some of the obstacles to that was, well, how do we know which kids to get it to? Or, that's a lot of work for teachers. And so I said, hey, first of all, I assure you, the teachers will do no work in this because teachers are busy. I mean, if you've ever seen a teacher in a school, they run around like their hair is on fire. And they've got the biggest hearts in the world, and they know most of who these kids are. But imagine at the end of the day, you're in final period and this kid is hungry and you're trying to get kids out the door. You're trying to do all the things that you have to do. You don't have time to go to a food closet and pack up a bag for these kids. So what we do is we take all the work out of it for them. We pack healthy, nutritious meals in backpacks, and we put those backpacks in the school so that if a teacher sees a hungry kid, all they have to do is grab the backpack, give it to the kid, and go. There's no paperwork. There's no reporting requirements. Because at the end of the day, we don't care if that family makes $100,000 or if they make $10,000. We just want to feed the kid. So our target population is actually what we call the people that are food insecure, meaning they make just enough money that they don't get, SNAP benefits or food stamps. They don't get any assistance from the government, but they have to choose between paying the light bill or putting food on the table. And more often than not, they choose to skip the food. So that's really our target population, but we're here to help any hungry kid. I mean, I had a situation last summer with a family that usually does pretty well, but the father was hurt, couldn't work for a while, and they just needed to get over a hump, and we were able to help them get through that. We do that. We don't do all of that. The community does. Everything we do is community funded. So we get the community fired up, they get fired up, and we go from there. But we started with that one school, right? So I did that one out of pocket originally, just a couple $100 to put some bags together. And it took off like wildfire. Next thing you know, another school heard about what we were doing and asked us to come in there. So we picked up another school, and I didn't know how we were going to sustain it at that point. So I started doing some social media stuff, some Facebook, some Twitter, some Instagram, and word started getting out. We started getting some donations. Well, the other word that was getting out was that we were providing a service, so other schools started hearing about what we were doing. And then by the end of the school year last year, we were in 7 schools going into the summer.
Wow.
So jumped from 1 to 7 in just a couple of months. I don't know if you want to chime in or you want me to just
No.
So,
You're doing great.
all right.
I love hearing about this. Yeah.
Perfect. So at that point, we decided we were just going to go ahead and we started here in Stafford County because that's where I live. I'm a big believer that you got to clean up your own backyard first. And if everybody kind of did that, I think the world would be a better place. But we focused here in Stafford County, started with those 7 schools. And we said at that point, let's just go ahead and do all the elementary and middle schools in Stafford County. That's 22 schools here in Stafford County, 17 elementary schools. 25, 17 elementary schools and 8 middle schools. That was our goal. And my goal was to be in all of those schools before the school year started in the fall of 2017. We met that goal. We got all of the elementary and middle schools on by the start of the school year, and we had all of those schools stocked and running. But while we were doing that over the summer, we also fed an additional 650 families by partnering with some local nonprofits that do summer school activities for kids. So we found a way to reach kids in the summer, which is honestly our weakness. The schools, we're so well established in the schools now that our distribution system is solid there, but it doesn't work in the summer because the kids are out of school.
Right.
What makes that situation worse is the kids that normally get free and reduced lunch during the school year, at least they're getting those 2 meals a day at school. The summer, they're not even getting those. So we've got to find a good solution to the summer problem. Last year, partnering with those organizations, we were able to make a little dent in it. We've got some big stuff coming up this year that we're hoping to do, and we're just going to continue to grow at this point.
Something you said that struck a chord with me is that the student can just grab a backpack and go.
No,
or the teacher gives the backpack to the student and they just go.
That's
there
correct.
Isn't paperwork. There isn't, a big part of this is the stigma that comes with needing food.
Yep.
Of all the things that you say we need,
right.
Food, when you need food, you're in a really bad situation.
Yep.
And I remember as a kid, my parents, we grew up poor.
Yeah, me too.
So poor. I mean, we were, if 30 years ago, I would have been that kid that needed your backpack.
Yep, me too. Me
100%.
too. That's why I do this, man.
And I remember the teachers, they had a program, and it was like in the middle of the day, and the announcer would come on the vice principal on the intercom and said, "Is students who require nutritional assistance, please come to the cafeteria."
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh,
There's
man.
no way I'm going up there.
And you would walk up there and they gave you a box for your family. And you had to come back to class and you're just like, F this.
Yeah, no,
this
absolutely,
is terrible.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because what we do when we pack these backpacks, they're cheap little drawstring bags. They're not like expensive Nike backpacks. I buy them from a supplier. I get them for like 70 cents a piece. Mm-hmm. But what we do with those is we color code them to the school's colors. So every school has their school colors, right? So like Conway Elementary, when we started there, we bought these red backpacks because that's a color that is prevalent in the school. But when I first put those out on social media, I actually got attacked by like all these helicopter moms that came out and they're just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're giving them red bags. Couldn't you use something more discreet?" And so I instantly responded. I had, not instantly, because I had to kind of calm down because I am running an organization now, right? But I said, listen, I'm a Marine. I know a little bit about camouflage, all right? The school colors are red and tan. Red is everywhere, so these red backpacks blend in perfectly. At Rock Hill Elementary, when we expanded over there, their school colors were blue, so we use blue backpacks. And now we're in 43 schools now, and I have 9 different colors of backpacks that we use because we want it to blend in. We don't want them to be identified as the kid coming up front to get the assistance. The other thing we do is you don't just get a bag of food. It's not random food. Mm-hmm. It is a complete meal designed to feed a family of 4. Everything we use is completely shelf stable. We do that because that way the teachers don't have to worry about rotating stock or anything like that. If we put a bag in at the beginning of the year and for some reason it sits at the back of the closet till the end of the year, it's still 100% usable. The meals that we do are designed to be as healthy as possible and to taste good. So I love knowing that you walked in the same shoes I did, because you ever get one of those boxes and in that box you get like spinach and pumpkin pie mix.
Pumpkin pie. Oh, you beat me to it. Pumpkin pie mix. Every time a big, and it was never like a little jar.
It was like the big can,
it was the
right?
giant family-sized can of pumpkin pie mix. I'm like, who eats this much pumpkin pie mix?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like you got a pie crust and some sugar to make a pie with.
Just the mix.
So our backpacks, I'll use one example. We use it's a newest one I created. It's called white chicken chili. All right. So the white chicken chili backpack comes with 2 cans of white beans, comes with a can of salsa to add some flavor to it because we can't chop up tomatoes, right? And then it's got a 1 pound can of chicken breast, all white meat. You know, it's like the good stuff. I don't buy the junk stuff because I want these kids to feel like somebody cares about them, right? So we got a nice can of tuna or of chicken in there. It comes with the McCormick seasoning pack, just like you and I would buy at the grocery store today, and then a can of corn, and you just mix it all together. I put the instructions in there how to make it and everything, and it's enough there to feed 4 people because we don't want to just feed that child. We want to feed the whole family. One of the things in my research early on, I had a lot of people tell me backpack programs don't work. They've been tried across the country and they failed. And I called around to several different places in different states and said, why did your backpack program fail? Well, they were putting stuff in there like ramen noodles and Chef Boyardee stuff and stuff that's just loaded with MSGs. And they were putting enough in there for the 1 kid. How many brothers and sisters you got, Ron?
I don't, but
okay.
But my household, I've got 3 hungry teens,
right,
and a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old
there you go.
Little girl. So that's my household.
So if I send home a bag of food for 1 kid, what's going to happen?
It's going to be a mess.
It's going to get either everybody's going to be nice and they're just going to share it to a point that it doesn't really have an impact, or in some cases the older siblings take it, or the parents take it. You know, so we set out early on. You know, we're just going to feed the whole family. That's easy to fix that problem. And so while our meals are designed to feed a family of 4, if there are more than 4 people in the household, I tell the school send 2 bags. It's too easy. You know, I mean, if there's more than 8, guess what? Send 3 bags. We'll figure out where to get more bags.
I remember the first time you were explaining to me the process of how you put these bags together. Mm-hmm. I didn't know you were a Marine, but at the end of that conversation, I was thinking, this guy's a Marine, because the precision with the way that you explained to me, I do 1 bag of rice, 1 of this, 1 of that, and I was thinking like, why only 1? And I asked you the question. You said, and I remember you looked at me a little like, are you dumb?
I don't
What's wrong with you? Because you're like, well, it's going to be too heavy for the kid to carry home.
Right.
And that's something I never would have thought of, and that makes perfect sense. Perfect portion for a family of 4.
Right.
And you also need the kid to be able to take it home. You don't want to give him a 64-pound rucksack.
That's right.
Good luck, kid. Hump that home.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny about that too is one of the biggest frustrations I have is we do food drives. There's a guy who does I think it's a YouTube series or something. Adam Ruins Everything.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? He did one on food drives, and I actually need to get that shared to our Facebook page because
I saw that one. It was good.
One of the things he explains is like people never donate the right stuff, right? So we have on our brochures and on our website, we have a very finite list of items that we use. I think there's something like 25 items that we use. And I mean, even to the point of like a 1 pound bag of rice. And you would think, oh, you're only going to collect what you ask for. No, because either A, human beings don't follow directions, or B, they think if a 1 pound bag is good, a 5 pound bag is better.
It's got to be better, right?
Yeah. But I can't put a 5 pound bag of rice and a 10 pound can of beans in a bag and expect a 7-year-old kid to be able to carry it. So absolutely, the weight is a
Welcome to the crucible, kid.
Yeah, exactly. Suck it up.
Suck it up. Drink some water. Drive on. Go home.
That's it.
But that's great because you don't want these kids toppling over, and it makes sense. And that right there tells the person who's picking up this bag, somebody cares.
That's right.
The fact that everything's that way. The other thing that, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but it's because when you and I talked about this program, I got super excited about it.
Awesome.
Super excited. I've told a lot of different people, a lot of other nonprofits about this organization, not necessarily because I think that business can be done. I want them to adopt this model.
Oh, wow.
This needs to go to a lot of places because what you're doing is smart. One of the other thing that you said that really got to me was you care about the love that goes in every single one of those bags.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The way that they cut a sand, the way that everything is cut and the way it's put in the bag, you don't just throw it in there, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. When I pack a bag, I pack it like I'm packing a Christmas present. And quite honestly, for some of these kids, it's like Christmas. I mean, you know what it's like to go hungry. Now you come home, you got this backpack, or even because let's face it, they're opening them up on the school bus, right? They're looking to see what's in there. First thing they're going to see are granola bars. Because if they're hungry, I want them to be able to eat right now. If they're going to have a problem with a parent taking it away from them or something at home, they can eat something right then and there. So I put some snacks in there that they can instantly have something from. Every meal will have 4 granola bars, 4 100% juice boxes. I use Capri Suns because quite honestly, I remember when I was a kid, I went to a rich friend's house and they had Capri Suns.
Capri Sun.
I'd never had a Capri Sun in my life.
I had orange drink.
Yeah, right. The knockoff stuff. If we had that, but I mean, I love putting those little surprises in there because I know some little kid's going to go, oh, dude, this is like what the rich kids drink, And it's sad that we take that for granted now. Most people do, but we really want to put that into it. And then we only use 100% juice because a regular juice box is just sugar and water, man. Yep. It is doing your body no favors whatsoever. But 100% juice is a serving and a half of fruit. And our meals are designed to be nutritionally balanced so that the kid's getting at least 2 servings of fruit, a vegetable, a protein, and a carb. I mean, it's basic food pyramid stuff. We want to make sure that these kids are getting healthy. And we try to avoid the things like Chef Boyardee that are high. And I don't mean to slam Chef Boyardee, but
do better, Chef Boyardee.
Some of their products are really high in the MSGs, and that makes fat, poor kids. So we don't want to contribute to that. We try to be health conscious as well. A lot of thought, a lot of effort. And then when we pack them so that I'm going to back up and tell a little story since you talk about Karen. Every one of these meals I've fed to my own family. We tested them in my house. And my 9-year-old is the pickiest eater you'd ever want to see, right? It always drives me crazy because I'm like, man, when I was a kid, I'd have ate anything put in front of me, But whatever, she's spoiled. We have the luxury to do that now. So she's my test subject. So when I make a meal, I always have her try it. And if she likes it, then I know it's good for anybody. We were doing the tuna casserole meal at home one day. And I hate tuna casserole. I mean, Dave Ramsey made the greatest quote ever when he said, tuna smells like poverty. Because when he was broke for a while, he had to eat tuna because it's cheap,
God,
right?
That is so true.
But it is affordable, and a tuna casserole, some people like it, some people love it. But we made it because if I'm going to make it, at least I want to know what's the best possible product I can put in there. Well, when we made it, at that time, I only put 1 sleeve of Ritz crackers in there. And that if you're not a tuna casserole fan, you put crushed crackers on the top of it. Well, I found out that one sleeve didn't cover the whole top of the casserole. So now we put 2 sleeves of crackers in there. I mean,
That's attention to detail.
exactly. It's exactly what it is. And it's caring because we care about these kids and we want them to I want them to open that bag and that care and that love should just come pouring out because our backpacks aren't curing any problems, man. They're providing a temporary solution to a hunger problem. But if they get that feeling that somebody out there cares about them, that they're not a piece of garbage and that they have some self-worth, then maybe they're motivated to keep trying because honestly, that's what got me out of the hood, you know.
Hope you're enjoying this episode of the After Action Review Podcast with Tim White. Our goal is always to bring you value in the guests that come on this show. If you think we're doing that, then do us a huge favor and leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Those ratings help this podcast reach more folks just like you who support veterans and their businesses. Also, don't forget to pick up some Seabag Locker coffee at seabaglockercoffee.com. Folks, they take their coffee serious. We're talking roasted cup in as little as 4 days. Use promo code AAR, get 10% off your purchase. And since we're taking a short coffee break here, check out the Java Can. It's an all-in-one coffee brewing system so you can brew up your favorite Seabag Locker coffee anywhere in the world. From a short hiking trip to the peak of a mountain, you can brew a fresh cup of coffee anywhere using the Java Can. Go to javacan.com, use promo code AAR, and get 10% off. Take a selfie with your Java Can and tag us at the AAR Podcast. I'm going to send you a free bag of Seabag Locker coffee. Boom. Just like that. All right, folks, don't forget about that 5-star review. Let's get back to Tim White with Stafford Food Security. Well, a lot of people don't realize that, and I've talked about this problem with my own family, and that is these school shootings. Right. These kids on drugs, the violence. Yes, there are things you can do to attack those particular issues as they happen, but all you're doing is you're putting a Band-Aid on a severed limb. That's not helping.
Yeah, what's the root cause?
What's the root cause? And what you just said is the root cause.
That's right.
Kids that feel worthless, kids that feel like they're not they're valued. They're subhuman.
Yep, that's
right.
You
know, you hit on a very interesting thing. You said, this is what rich kids feel. This is what rich kids drink. And I remember as a kid, and I'm not trying to get all too sad story here, but I didn't think this is what rich kids drank. I seriously, and this is no kidding, this is the thought that came through my 6-year-old head. This is what real people eat.
Oh, yeah. That's a great point. Yeah,
this is what real people eat. I'm not a real person because I eat. You know, I it's so weird. Like, I remember, like, when we were kids, the grocery store, all the name brand stuff was up here.
That's right. That's right.
You had to go down.
Yep.
And that's where the no name stuff was. The
USDA label.
The white label that just said corn chips with cheese powder.
That's right.
And you're like, it's like Doritos. Sure, why not?
The old Eddie Murphy skit about the house burger.
Yes, right?
I've eaten many a house burger.
A lot of you old people know what we're talking about. Young people are like, what are they talking about?
Who's Eddie Murphy?
Who's Eddie Murphy? Go YouTube it.
That's right.
But, you know, when a child feels that they are worthy of someone's attention, that they open up that bag and somebody gave a shit about me, that goes a long ways.
I hope so.
We don't think it does. A lot of people are like, well, he just feels that way right there. I'm like, no, they carry that home.
That's right.
And they, you know, it's like, what is that? Oh boy, well, whatever. It's like passing it on or whatever. There's a term for
Paying
it.
It forward.
Paying it forward.
There you go.
People will do that. People do that naturally. It's in their instinct. If I feel good, I want to do good for others. And when they go home, they're going to do that for the little brother, the little sister. Yeah, maybe mom and dad are drunk or stoned, but somebody cared about me today.
Yep.
And that's, like you said, that's enough to keep me going. Can you go back to a moment when you said, this is what I'm going to do? This is my calling.
Well, that's yeah, I mean, I can definitely pin it down to probably February of last year, February 2017. Really started kind of back in November of 2017. I was in just kind of a place in life. I mean, it wasn't in a bad place or anything like that, but I just didn't feel like I was doing what I was meant to be doing. I didn't feel like I was making the most productive use of my time. So, I'm a Christian, so most of my stuff centers around that. I'm not like a Bible thumper or anything, but I mean, I love my God and I love what we do. But I said, you know what? I need to do more stuff that's serving my fellow man. And I've reached a point in life where we're pretty comfortable. I mean, I've got kids in college that I'm paying for. My life is night and day different from what it was. And I wanted to give back. I said, I want to make more productive use of my time. So I started looking for things to do. And in February of last year, I actually ended up building a house down in Tappahannock for a gentleman who lost his in the tornado. And that gave me a place to kind of put some of that energy. Because, I mean, you've known me for a little while now, but you see how, I get called relentless or intense or passionate. I mean, I'm 100 miles an hour is my slow speed, So I need to have something to engage in. And quite honestly, part of it is PTSD related. Spending all those years in the Marine Corps, going to Iraq and Afghanistan, I love the thrill of going, full mission ops all the time, go, go, go. And when I came back to the States and started doing civilian work, I was just kind of like, dude, this sucks. Like what I'm doing doesn't matter, and so I wanted to find a new mission. And that's what I'm doing now, man. That's when it clicked to me. I needed to find a mission for myself. And so the mission started kind of vague as like, I'm going to help people. And while I was building this house for a guy, I got to thinking about being hungry. And because the area we're building this house in was pretty, if you've ever been down to Tappahannock, it's not a really rich community. And where we were building this particular house was kind of a rural farm setting. I got thinking, I wonder how many of these people are hungry. I thought, what could I do about that? And then I wanted to shift my focus back up to my backyard. And, my wife works in an elementary school, and she had shared a story with me about a kid in class that she has to give snacks to and stuff. And then it just kind of started to click, It's like, hey, I know what it's like to be hungry. Well, and then I started doing the research that I talked about, looking at what was out there. And when I identified that gap in resources, that those dots that weren't connecting, because so many of these people don't know what a food pantry is, or they don't know how to navigate the system. I mean, we could have a whole nother podcast about, food pantries and how inaccessible they are because of the income requirements, the reporting requirements, all these different obstacles. And I just decided at that point that my mission was going to be to get food to kids and tear those obstacles down. And that's really what we're about, is removing obstacles, getting them out of the way, and figuring out how, as a community, we can take care of our community. So,
that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So as a nonprofit, 501c3, you faced some unique challenges that maybe a for-profit wouldn't have had to deal with. Can you tell me about some of the issues or some of the challenges that you faced as a nonprofit?
It really wasn't as bad as most people think it is.
Way to bust me out here. I was trying to build up to something.
I know you were, but I'm actually going to share a different story with you.
Okay, shoot.
And I say that because it is intimidating, right? Yeah, and I talk to so many people, they're like, oh, I can't believe what you've done. It's amazing. It's really not that amazing, Rod. I mean, it was an idea. Mm-hmm. I put a little ass behind it. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just cursed on your podcast.
It's my show. Do whatever you want.
I put a little ass behind it, put some thinking behind it. But I'm not a rocket scientist. I was a Marine infantry, for crying out loud. I mean, I eat crayons for breakfast. Not really. Lunch. But I'm not a superhero. Mm-hmm. And then the 501c3 thing was almost an accident. And I'll tell you a little story about how that happened. When I started looking at needing to get food together for kids, I went to the food bank and I said, hey, can I get some of the food that you have donated to use that I can put in these backpacks, and I'm going to pass them on to kids? And they said, we can't work with you. You're not a 501c3. So, smells like an obstacle. So we destroyed that, and I just went ahead and did the paperwork. And I mean, honestly, it's intimidating because it's a stack of paperwork, right?
Yeah.
But you start at the top and you work your way down to the bottom, and then boom. We actually were able to do a 501c3 EZ form because we're so focused in our mission. And I mean, that's the other thing too, is people try to go out and cure cancer, right? Well, don't cure cancer. Figure out why the toe's falling off and start there, And so we that's probably a horrible analogy.
Cancer, falling toes. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Anyway, focus on what you can affect, right? And this is advice that I've given my kids, and I try to get people always they want to fix everything. They want to eat the whole elephant at a time instead of grabbing it by the tail and taking bite-sized chunks. It's a better analogy.
I like eating elephants.
Right? Elephants are delicious.
Delicious.
Sorry, PETA. So we started with something small and we focused on that, and that made the 501c3 process easier. But again, even if we did the full 501c3, it's just a process, right? People see these big obstacles in front of them. They freak out like, oh, I can't do that. It's too hard. Well, suck it up. I mean, just do it. And so I sat there in my free time chewing through paperwork, researching what's the answer to this question. Let me Google it, reaching out. I will say I got to give props. Getting incorporated was probably the hardest part, and that's a huge obstacle for people. I have a friend who's an attorney. I reached out to him and I was like, dude, I need you to help me. I said, I can't pay you, but I want to start this organization. And he pro bonoed every bit of it.
Wow.
But what he did, he not only helped me, but I now have a notebook that takes you step by step through how to incorporate, from writing your articles of incorporation and everything else. And I don't know if I'm exposing lawyer trade secrets here.
Oh,
but
please do.
What you do is you go out and you find another organization that's doing something similar, and you edit that document, you copy and paste. So it took us, we sat behind the bar for about 4 hours and built our corporation.
See, I love that you're saying that, because this is exactly the message I've been trying to tell people. Look, if you're a young person, like we're a little bit older, a little longer in the tooth.
Yep.
We know we have a very good network. Both of us have very vast networks, just from all the other veterans that we've met. We know lawyers, we know people. Take advantage of your networks.
That's right.
Use your networks. That's why you've built them.
Yep.
If you're a young person and you don't have those networks,
better start building one.
Start building it. And you know what you do? You get involved in organizations like this.
There you go.
You come over here and you work inside of a 501c3.
Absolutely.
And then you take all the stuff that you learned from Stafford Food Security, and you appropriate it to do your thing.
That's right. Go make it better. Go make it bigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go feed 20 kids a day. Make it bigger. Make it better. And if you talk to people, they'll give it to you.
That's right.
They will give it to you. You don't have to take it. They'll give it to you. Please go do more.
That's right. And if they don't, then they're not the people you want to be talking to anyway, right? Best advice I can give a young person trying to get out there and be entrepreneurial today is don't listen to everybody. I mean, well, let me rephrase that.
Go for it.
Listen to everybody, but don't absorb everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to say, yeah, hey, thanks for your input, but that's not for me. Especially if they're negative. Tell them to go pound sand.
Not everything is a yes.
That's right. That's right. And I learned more from the no's than anything. I did sales before I was in the Marine Corps. I've been selling my whole life. And even in Marine Corps recruiting, right? No simply means new opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's all that means. And when you get used to hearing the word no, you're a lot stronger for it. But don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something. I mean, I tell people, I jokingly refer to myself as the world's poorest philanthropist. I mean, I'm not a wealthy guy. We're comfortable, but I mean, Stafford Food Security went through about $50,000 last year. That didn't come out of my pocket. I can't afford to do that. But I was able to affect that change. So you don't have to do everything yourself. And that's lesson number 13, I guess. If you try to do it yourself, you're going to fail. Build a team. As you're doing that network, build a team and surround yourself with people. This organization tonight, our celebration tonight, was about recognizing all the other people that make this happen. It wasn't about me. I've got volunteers that deliver bags. I've got volunteers that pack bags. I've got educators in schools that are reaching out to these kids every day. Those are the people that make it all worthwhile to me. They motivate the hell out of me, man. And you were here tonight when some of the teachers and principals talked about the impact it has in their schools. Dude, I am so fired up after tonight. I want to just go out and pack 1,000 bags. But that's where I get my motivation from. When you see the success, it's like crack. You get that first hit and you just want more and more and more. So yeah, just when you have an idea, don't be afraid to explore it. Also, don't be afraid to go, that's not a good idea. This is a good idea. This is a good idea. Oh, I screwed up. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make a mistake. There have been a couple of times, let's try to think of a good one here where we reached a little too far. We've never reached too far. I've thought I've reached too far a few times, and then we've had miraculous donations come in and we've been able to make it. But the spaghetti meal that I started off with, it was a cheap meal. We throw in a thing of spaghetti and a thing of sauce and a can of green beans. Boom, meal. But it was eating at me that it didn't have protein. So just a couple of months ago, I said, you know what? That was a mistake. We're going to stop doing the spaghetti meal. And then to replace it, we came up with that white chicken chili meal I was talking about. But don't be afraid to acknowledge a mistake. don't get butthurt about it. Just recover, move on, and don't be afraid to take risks. Oh my gosh, life is about risk versus reward. I'm not saying to be reckless and to be stupid, but analyze the situation, right? If I do this, then the risks are A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. Can I live with A? Can I live with B? Then yeah, do it. Can I not live with C? Okay, then maybe that's not the one. But don't be afraid to take a little bit of risk, because the greatest rewards only come with the greatest risk. If there's that's why people that are wealthy, they take risks.
Fortune favors the brave.
That's right. That's a good,
right?
Better way to put it. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So how can people learn more about Stafford? Well, I'm like knocking
You're beating my sign up. You're fine, man. You're good.
How can people learn more about Stafford Food Security, Inc.?
All right. So first step would be to go to our website at staffordfoodsecurity.org. We are, like I said, a 501c3, so we've got the .org website. I've got it pretty well structured. I mean, so here's the other thing, right? If you're getting started out, you do everything yourself, so it's cheap. So I designed the website. It's not great, but it's functional. We do get compliments on it, but at some point we're going to look to make it better. But go there. There's the About Us section, kind of breaks down what I've talked about today, how we got started and what we do. And then there's the Donate section. You can donate. It's awesome. And then we have a Calendar section, which I just simply synced up with my Google Calendar. So whenever we have an event or an event like tonight or a packing event, those things are on there so people can learn about those. We're on Facebook at Stafford Food SEC. We're on Twitter, same handle, and on Instagram, same handle. So you can find us on all those. I don't do Snapchat because I'm 43 years old next month, and I just can't bring myself to do Snapchat.
Okay. Neither do I.
But Rod is getting me into podcast.
So we are doing podcasts.
Learning can occur.
It does. You know what? Once you get the crayons put away, lunch is done, we do the podcasting. Listen, this is where it all happens. That's amazing. I want to thank you for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
To be on the After Action Review podcast. I want to let you know that we took everything you said to heart. So in our car right now is the entire kit.
Oh my gosh.
The entire kit that you have on your pamphlet. So we're going to put that out on the After Action Review podcast page, an entire list of what you can do if you're in the Virginia area, as well as all the links. And we want to help feed these kids. We want to be part of your mission.
Awesome. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you for everything that you're doing for these wonderful kids.
My pleasure.
Man, I just wish you were around. I wish we were around 30 years ago.
Hey, funny story. So we did an event last summer called the National Night Out. We did it here in Stafford, and people are walking by, and we're a nonprofit, right? So we don't have anything to sell anybody, but we just wanted to build awareness. And this lady walks by, and she's like, "Where were you when I was hungry?" And I was like, "Same place as when I was hungry, but at least we're here now, right?" And dude, you should have seen the look on her face change. She was just this angry woman because nobody had helped her. But when I threw that back at her and I told her that I had walked in those same shoes and that why shouldn't we do something for kids today, her face kind of melted. And she came back and we had like a 15-minute conversation. So I throw that out there. Some of the experience. So I get so much out of this. It's a nonprofit. Nah, man, I'm profiting like crazy. I mean, spiritually and just developmentally, I get so much out of this that I can't stop even if I wanted to.
Get involved, folks. There's no other way to word that. Hungry kids in the Stafford area need your help, and SFS is the way to help them. Go to staffordfoodsecurity.org and donate. It's that easy. If you're in the Stafford area and want to volunteer, check out the website first. This is a great cause, feeding kids. staffordfoodsecurity.org. Don't forget to pick up your Seabag Locker coffee, and the best way to brew that coffee is with the Java Can. Go to seabaglockercoffee.com, and I'm having trouble with this outro. We're going to get through it. Go to seabaglockercoffee.com and javacan.com. Use promo code AAR and get 10% off your purchase. Leave a 5-star review on iTunes if you think we earned it, which I think we did. So jump on that 5-star review, folks. Okay, that does it for episode 40. We are quickly coming up on 50. What do you want to do for episode 50, folks? Who should we have on the show? Do you have any recommendations? And if you do you have a way for us to actually contact them? Because, people make suggestions all the time. That's great. But it's kind of hard for me to reach out to some people. If you've got an in, if you've got that connection, folks, hook me up. Let's do episode 50 big. Let's do episode 50 super big. Episode 41 coming at you this Thursday, where we're talking to another amazing veteran tackling hunger in the Fort Hood, Texas area, my old stomping grounds. That's Operation Phantom Support with their very own John Valentine. All right, that does it for me, folks. I will see you at the next episode.